All right, fellas. So we got, coming off the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl, championship, which I'm just gonna continue to relish.
Links, we got to do this every podcast. I mean,
Listen, listen,
I
listen.
normally let you go through your preamble, right? That's how we start the podcast. But
Yeah, listen. Look, we got a little bit of time.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley, man, this is all I gotta say. When someone hurdles someone backward, you've seen variations of this kind of play, but I'm saying in all of NFL history, this has to be one of the top 5 plays that I've ever seen think about this. Just go through the play in your mind. You think about this. You see this guy, and you know he coming. You jump backwards. That got to be one. So, with all that said and done, I'm putting that. I don't know if anybody could dispute that, but I'm putting that up there as one of the top 5 plays in NFL history. That's going down. So, with that being said, Saquon Barkley is on the cover of Madden. Now I know you guys, you was talking about the Madden Curse, right? I don't necessarily believe in the Madden Curse. I'm not buying into the Madden Curse. Let me just say that I'm not buying into the Madden Curse because what this is what could happen. Last year you had Christian McCaffrey on the cover and he gets hurt. Okay, that year he he was their whole offense, pretty much. He was doing everything for them. So, of course, wear and tear on the body, and then he probably went into the offseason and was still wearing and tearing on his body. Saquon has taken a different approach. Saquon actually, up until OTAs, really hadn't done anything. He was like, I'm taking it easy, 2,000 yards, I'm taking it easy, on the cover of Madden. I don't believe in the Madden Curse. I'm let you guys take it from there. That's all I got to say about it.
that's all you got to say.
That's all I got to say, man. Madden Curse don't exist.
So, Links, look, I know you're an Eagles fan, right? So you got to say that. You got to believe that. You have to want to believe that, right? But I don't know how to describe it, but there is evidence of consistent bad things happening to people who grace that cover. Consistently, right? We talked about Christian McCaffrey. We go back. Remember Adrian Peterson? I think he had an injury the year
okay.
Right. Wait, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
We had Marshall Faulk when my boy when he was on there, right? Your boy Donovan McNabb was on the cover one time, right?
Yeah.
He got hurt, hernia. I think he had a back hernia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes with the kneecap.
With the kneecap
2020.
on a fluke play.
Yep.
He was going for. I had him on my fantasy team that year. Okay, I should have known better because he was on the cover. So he goes in. I think it was week one, and it was a basic quarterback sneak. Dislocates his kneecap. Out for the season. He comes back later in the season, but he's out.
Multiple weeks.
So you can't sit here and say there's no curse.
Peyton Hillis,
hamstring
injuries after he had that one remarkable season.
Yes.
Vanished. Not just he was never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again. That's right. I remember. Yes, because I remember that year in fantasy. I was like, oh, I got to get Peyton Hillis, man. He was hot. Wow. Okay.
Antonio Brown, he was on the cover.
Antonio Brown.
He lost his mind after that. He was never the same.
Yeah, that dude was going crazy.
So I don't know what you're talking about, but if I'm an Eagles fan, I'd be concerned.
I'm trying to see.
I'd be slightly concerned.
I'm trying to see who our backup running back is, man. Who is our backup running back? I'm trying to see right now. Who's our backup running back? I know we got it's a rookie from last year from Clemson. His name is escaping me right now. I can't remember. And then we picked up Dylan from the Green Bay Packers. Okay, we gotta do something there. Saquon is definitely gonna need to have some sort of backup. I mean, we'll see how it goes. If this happens this year, if Saquon gets injured, I will believe in the curse. Even with all that evidence that you just laid out right there, if Saquon gets hurt this year and say he's out,
Yeah.
I'll believe in the curse.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, don't you learn the hard way.
Keep your eye out for Jarius Jones, too. Because that's the dude from the Jaguars that Saquon hurdled. And he on the cover, too.
So that would be a saving grace.
That could be it. That could be it.
That might be a saving grace.
Yeah.
But there was a situation where you had two people on the cover intentional. Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Polamalu.
They both didn't get hurt though.
Yes.
Stop this.
Look, don't believe.
Polamalu almost had a career-threatening knee injury. Fitzgerald had injuries to the knee and elbow but didn't miss any time. But they both got hurt that year. One missed games, one had nagging injuries and just wasn't himself. But played. Times two.
I gotta send this up for Saquon, man. I gotta send prayers up for Saquon. This sounding too real, man. This sounding too real. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. We will see. That's wow. Okay, all right, man. I don't want to hear this. I really don't want to hear this.
Look, we care, and we just want to make sure that you're
equipped.
You're equipped with all of the information that's needed. As a fan, you got to brace yourself for what's inevitable, right? It's about to happen. It's going to happen.
And on top of that, they got the NFL films there the whole season on the NFC East.
Okay.
They have what do you call it? What's the
Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks is there as well. Too much distractions, man.
Yeah, I don't like
too much distraction. I don't like Hard Knocks.
I don't like when they cover my team.
No, it's too much, man.
Too intrusive.
Yeah.
Too intrusive. All right.
They got cameras everywhere. You see what happened to the Giants? And they got cameras everywhere, man. Microphones everywhere. I don't need our internal discussions being, put all out in the open.
I think that the Giants is the reason why they come back to they go into the NFC.
Probably so. Yeah.
Whatever you do, I don't want to see Saquon leave the Giants and go to the Eagles, okay? Whatever you do. I can't sleep at night.
I can't sleep
thinking about that. I got you, boss. I got you.
He is by far our most beloved player on the team to go on to the Eagles.
I don't know why he's still got a job.
Win the Super Bowl.
That's crazy. The thing about it is, with the Giants and I believe them, the GM and the head coach are on the hot seat this year. If they don't win, or at least they're not going to win the division. But if they don't at least not finish last, okay, if you finish third, it'll be between them and Dallas. Fighting that spot at the bottom. And if they bring Jackson Dart in, but I doubt Dart is going to start. I think Russell Wilson's going to get the nod and start. Jackson Dart may come in at some point because I think Russell kind of, Russ is Russ at this point in his career. And Jackson Dart may come in, and it's going to be. And looking at the schedule, and they got the NFC East mixed up in there. I'll be sorry for that young man because he won't have a good showing. He won't have a good showing in there. So anyway, we'll see about this. We'll see about this Madden Curse, man. Thank you guys for equipping me. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Just to finish it off, that is one of the 5 most athletic plays I've ever seen in the NFL.
Thank you, Doc.
And when you watch that play, when you see him about to do the spin move, every time I see it, I think he's going to go to the outside he puts the move on the dude, breaks it to the inside, and that would be the dude we'd be talking about.
Yes.
And then he's spinning so much, he sees your boy coming, and it's like, well, let me just go over him backwards.
That's just ridiculous.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think athletic play, I think is a good way to describe it. Like, but top five play, like when I think of a top play, I'm also thinking about the circumstances of the game, right? And what did that play do in order for that team to win? And what was at stake? Was it a Super Bowl? Was it a playoff game? Like, I would put that Minnesota Stephon Diggs play
Good step on there.
above that,
Yeah.
right? Like, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But athletically, yeah, that's one of the most athletic things I think I've ever seen. Yeah, and it was almost as if he had eyes in the back of his head, right? Like he didn't see the guy, he felt the guy coming.
Yeah. That could have gone terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. If that guy would have caught his legs, he was coming down on his neck.
That's why he brought the legs up.
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
He's gifted. He's in state.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, what did you, Doc? What was the guy's name?
Jarius Jones.
Like, what is that like? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the tackle, the dude back,
Jarian Jones.
Yeah.
And you going for this sure tackle. He can't see you.
Dead to right.
And then
Dead to right.
You.
Oh man. Think about the I mean, he is forever immortalized. And to think about what his friends and family members and stuff, man, that's brutal, man. That is brutal. To go down in history like that. That is brutal. To be on the cover of Madden like that. Man.
Yeah. We had the Rams safety Cameron Curl, our rookie last year. Had a good season. But the highlight for Madden with Saquon Barkley running in the snow against the Rams.
Yeah.
And they show our safety getting juked out, right? And because I'm on the Ram boards, and he was like, man, Madden did me wrong, and I was playing Madden all my life, and I can't believe the first time I'm on the Madden trailer, they got me getting juked out. Why they do me like that? And I'm saying to myself, but that's what happened. I look back, I say, it happened just like that.
Yeah, that's the
During
truth.
the game. So you can't complain. You can't complain. Make the tackle next time, man.
Yeah. These guys are talented, man. Any person you look at, on these teams, these top running backs and stuff, man. And the running back position was about a year and a half ago. They was trying to pretty much get rid of the running backs. And Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley brought it back, man. Brought the market back. So I'm glad running backs are back on the board again.
It should be. A running back, I remembered one time the running back position was more vital to a team's success than the quarterback.
And the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
I don't know how we got away from all of that, but the fact of the matter is, I think with what Henry's doing, with what Barkley is doing, it's on the way back. It's not there yet, but you hope people like Ashton Genty, Hampton out in with the Chargers, and some of these other young guys, they can come in and take the torch and bring it back up to where it used to be.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Lee, Doc, I know you had something with the some news, NFL news. You had some retirements. I know you wanted to talk about quarterback retiring. Where was he?
So Derek Carr from the Saints.
Derek Carr, yes.
Yeah, with the Saints. He retired a couple of days ago, and interesting, that story, he had $30 million guaranteed on the table, and I mean all he had to do was just show up. But I read the article. He said it didn't sit right with him, knowing that his shoulder wasn't right. With the surgery, he didn't feel like he was going to make it back to 100%. And then just to be there on the team, taking 30 minutes, he said to him, his conscience just couldn't take that. When you look at the amount of money he's made over his career, I think it's somewhere around the line of 190 some odd $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. 30 million is still a lot of money.
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. But, hats off to him. He felt like that was the right thing for him to do. So he went ahead and he retired. And then the second person is the center for the Detroit Lions, Ragnow.
Yeah.
I think that's going to really that's going to hit them pretty hard. He's only
Mm,
29. He was the
mm,
heart and soul of that offensive line, and we know how the Lions they made their name in the trenches, right, on
yeah.
both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So with him out, I think they have a second round rookie that they drafted this year that is going to have to replace him. I mean, it could happen. The Rams, we had a 6th round rookie start last year that got us to the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if they drafted well on this guy, because I think the news is the fact is that the team had a feeling that Ragnow was considering it, which is why they went ahead and made the move to pick a center when they did in the 2nd round. So I'm pretty sure they scouted and got someone who they feel would fit the mold, right, for their unit. So but that's what they're dealing with. Saints, man, it ain't like Derek Carr was lighting it up,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't really lighting it up over there.
Yeah.
So I think regardless, they were looking to to make a move and find a successor to take over anyway. So I don't think it's that much of a hit for them. They lose the opportunity for, I think, a smoother transition between him and Shook.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they drafted Tyler Shook, and I believe they want him to eventually be that starting quarterback for them.
I thought, where is Spencer Rattler?
He's with the Saints as well.
Okay, because I was just, I figured it. So, quick thing on this, Doc, before you go on this. Watched this. It was like this quarterback show that came out. I think it was on ESPN years ago with the high schoolers, top high schoolers.
Yeah.
And he was one of those top high schoolers, that came out, really, really sharp, looking good. I didn't know and then I know he just graduated from South Carolina and now with the Saints. And so I didn't know. Okay, let me rephrase this. He had the talent, but I didn't know he had NFL talent, right? And I know he had the work ethic, and in there it showed that he was kind of a cocky kind of little dude in that high school show that was on. But I mean, so are you thinking with them drafting Tyler Shook, they're pretty much saying he's not even going to have a shot?
Well, yeah, I think they've seen enough. I mean, he did play a couple of games last season, in his rookie season, but for them to go out of their way to draft Tyler Shook, it kind of you know gives it away, the fact that they don't think that Rattler has what it takes to be a prominent starter for an extended period of time. Um, but I know Rattler has a very, very unique history coming out of college. I think Doc he could take it away with that. Doc was the one who
Yeah.
hit me to like basically his progression from college. I think he started with Oklahoma.
He started with Oklahoma and had all that all the fame, all the accolades coming in. And a little bumpy, was doing okay. They may have lost one or maybe even 2 games. And then of course there was the Texas OU game. And he wasn't due on the Texas OU game. And so they subbed him out and brought in this dude named Caleb Williams.
Right.
And it was night and day. Caleb Williams was making plays, and next thing you know, Oklahoma comes back, I think wins the game, and Caleb Williams was starting the rest of that season, and Spencer Rattler starts looking for jobs other places. So, does he have the talent to play in the NFL? Yes, he clearly does. Does he have the talent to be perennial Pro Bowler? We haven't seen it as of yet. I'm not sure he's going to get there. I think if he's with a decent team where it's not like you got to win us the game and he has time to work on his craft, maybe. But clearly he didn't have enough to beat up Derek Carr. And some folks question how great Derek Carr is. Derek Carr is a very capable NFL quarterback.
Right.
Didn't make it to AFC championship games, or NFC championship games, but made 190 million and played a whole bunch of years, right? He didn't beat out Spencer Rattler, didn't beat him out.
Yeah.
And so now they drafted Shook because they're not confident they can put it on him to be
Right.
the guy and get them, quote unquote, over the hump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because I know, that jumping around and I guess you could see when you put on the film and you could see, if they got a live arm or if they making the right decisions and if they picking up the offense and, being able to be in command and obviously, with our boy coming in taking over the Saints job, he pretty much looked at that and was like, we need to go in another direction. So would you think, Doc, that he would be a career backup?
He is going to be, I think he's going to be career backup to borderline starter. He's going to be the John Kitna's, the Jacoby Brissett's, right?
Gotcha.
Like, yeah, he's starting. I wish we had someone better. Be a great backup just in case, but to be like, this going to be the guy, something's going to have to break differently. An OC or a head coach or him working with a quarterback's coach, and he ends up just doing something better to
Right.
right. You had it with the Rich Gannon effect, right? Like that's
Mhm.
always a possibility,
I was like,
but it's not very likely,
yeah,
So
yeah.
Hey Doc, who was that quarterback that made that throw to Stephon Diggs in that playoff game against the Saints?
your boy from University of Houston. Oh, I'm blanking on him.
And I should know this too because he did play with the Rams, but that's who Spencer Rattler kind of reminds me of. He's gonna have that type of like at the ceiling. I think would be that,
Mhm.
but he's gonna. I think he's like a
Case
perennial.
Keenum.
Case Keenum. That's it,
Case Keenum.
right?
Okay.
Case Keenum.
Okay. Yeah.
His Rattler's game is similar to Keenum's.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he finds himself matched up with an offensive coordinator and or an offensive minded head coach that has a scheme that allows him to do a whole lot of bootlegs, getting out of the pocket, motion, stuff like that, he could have some success.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, like your prototypical drop back, play action, go through your progression, read, stay in the pocket, that ain't him.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
That's interesting. So he's in that tier of quarterbacks, like you say, Case Keenum and my man Doc, your former QB
Kirk
in
Cousins.
Atlanta, Kirk Cousins.
I don't think he's as good as Kirk Cousins.
He's not as good as Kirk
No.
Cousins. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay.
But you have to peep something that Levi was talking about with Case Keenum, because like during that season, I was complaining to Lee like this dude just seemed to be running around and just throwing stuff up, and he's like, but Don, like he throws well on the run. He's really good making plays off script and hitting guys open. Like it seems like luck, but it's not. That's just what his skill set is.
Right. Right.
And they were going with it because it was magic. It just seemed like magic. And then the moment they change it or try to force it to sit in the pocket, the magic's gone.
Right. Right.
So to Lee's point, like, hey, if you got a guy who's an OC and a head coach who's fine with you making plays off script, and you got receivers that are smart and can make those secondary routes, make those adjustments because they can read the field, he'll be making plays. And then as soon as you go to an offense that's run by Nathaniel Hackett, where everything's got to be timing, we don't ad lib, everything's got to be a timing.
Yep.
Right.
He's done. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the thing.
And but that's really what I don't understand about some NFL teams and coaches and whatnot. I mean, why are you gonna try and take a guy that you've watched film on, you see how he plays? Why are you gonna try and move him into another system that is just not gonna work? If his skill set is rolling out and making plays and on the run, why are you going to try to make him a timing quarterback? I just don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, and I know the coaches are like, you're here and you're going to run my system, but why even draft him or why even go after him? It just don't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that part, like why go after them? I do agree with that part. Like if you are analyzing a prospect and you see that their skill set, they ad lib. They spend a lot of time in the pocket because they're waiting for something to happen, but they have the athleticism to do it. Strong arm, fast twitch, quick twitch muscle. being able to, get out of harm's way, but they lack the ability to see the throw before it happens or the timing and rhythm. Why draft him, right? If your offense is predicated off of that, because the problem is with a lot of these offensive-minded coaches and coordinators, they don't have the ability to adapt their plays
Yeah.
around the
Hmm.
quarterback. Some
Right.
do. Some are able to do it.
Yeah.
Most don't, right? Or aren't able to. So it would be in your best interest to find a prospect that fits that mold. But they get caught up in I don't know what it is, man. Like, especially when they're in that first round and they could get them a guy,
Right.
and you got the Mel Kipers and them out there saying, "Hey, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This guy he's this, he's that. He's a future Hall of Famer, and he don't fit your mold, but you go ahead and you get him because you get caught up, right, in all of that hoopla, and then all of a sudden that guy comes in and he's a bust."
A bust. Yeah.
And it's not, and I said this a while back, and I'll stand on it. Anyone that is drafted, especially if you're drafted in the first round, you're talented. There's not a lot of human beings on this planet that can make it in the NFL. But for you to be able to get drafted, that means that you're a good player. The problem is a lot of these guys, they get drafted and they get put in bad situations, or they get put in certain schemes that just doesn't fit what they do. And that's how a lot of them get washed out, especially on the quarterback.
Yeah. It's ego and like that whole the misfit, right? A lot of coaches are like chefs. You got the French chef, the Italian chef, the barbecue, the sushi, and it's like, hey, sushi chef, we got steak. I don't know, we gonna be raw. All I do is sushi, right? And if your GM don't bring you what you good at, coach don't look good, the team don't do well. The GM has a vision for the team that's different than the head coach. And so you get those misfits, right? Vikings got Teddy Bridgewater. Accurate quarterback, does not have a strong arm. We go out and get Mike Wallace at wide receiver, who's a speedster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we wonder why Mike Wallace don't pan out. He did well in Pittsburgh because they had Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
Yeah.
He got an arm. Teddy Bridgewater don't. You could get away with Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill is quick, but Mike Wallace was speedster straight down the field, streaker, right?
Yeah.
You got a strong arm. Mike Wallace is awesome. You don't have a strong arm. You can't use Mike Wallace. So Bridgewater don't look good. Mike Wallace don't look good. And it's like that was a bad fit from the start. But why'd we go and get this guy when he don't fit what the quarterback got? The quarterback ain't gonna get stronger.
Right.
And Mike Wallace don't run great short to medium routes. But he's a name. He's available. We got to get somebody, right?
Yeah. And that makes sense. And you saying that, Doc, that is true. That biggest thing I think really is with the GM and the head coach not seeing eye to eye on, the head coach is telling him this is who we need that can fit into this based on what the offensive coordinators, they having their discussions who they could fit in the offense and run the offense. And the GM just goes out and just, I'm just going to go get this dude right here who don't even fit nothing with and then depending on how the GM is, he get the player. He's like, you just going to have to figure it out. That's your job to figure it out. Go figure it out. Yeah. So I definitely could see that. I could see that. Yeah.
No,
so Go ahead.
No. So I liken it to a restaurant, right? You got your head chef and you got the person who goes your manager. That's the GM, right? You would think the manager would get what the chef wants to maximize the chef's ability.
Yeah.
But you get these egos sometimes where it's like, no. This is what I think the restaurant should do. You need to adapt your cooking ability to these ingredients.
Right.
And sometimes they ain't been trained that way, so how you expect them to do it? Now, you occasionally get some coaches, your Don Shula's, your Pat Riley's in basketball, where the Bill Belichick's, where they just know football, or they just know basketball, and they can see what's there and adapt it, right? But that tends to be rare. People got a certain style, a certain way they like to do stuff. And the GM really should be facilitating the head coach, because most of the time, these coaches are limited on the grand scheme of things and what they're comfortable doing and what they ain't. Ain't
That's right.
everybody Jim or John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the really good head coaches, no matter what you give them, they'll make it work. But most, they got their way, and if it don't fit their way, it's just square peg and round hole.
Yeah, and that's why you had some head coaches, not a lot, but some, and these were like some really great ones who they were adamant about being the GM as well as the head coach.
Mm.
What you just said, Doc, takes me back to a famous quote by Bill Parcells,
Bill
right?
Parcells.
Right? Say if they want you to cook the dinner, well, then they ought to let you shop for the
Buy the
groceries too,
groceries. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so you
And
got
go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
no, I
I'm
say
sorry.
you unfortunately like I don't subscribe to that. I think you should have two separate. You should have someone dedicated to being a GM and someone dedicated to be a coach. But if you do have in that, they should be almost joined at the hip.
Hmm.
There should be a synergy there, a dialogue there, a rapport there, just a level of communication that's above and beyond everything else because that GM has to know what that coach wants or
Hmm.
what that
Yeah.
coach needs in order for that coach to be able to be effective in what he's doing to get that team ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? This is akin to everything in corporate America is the same way, right? You know, you got the VPs and the managers, and then you go down to the supervisors, and it's all disjointed. You know, the VPs have one, have a vision in their head that everything is rosy and peachy and clean, right? And everything works perfectly. But then when you go down to the people that's actually doing it, it's chaos and it don't work. So, you know. So I'm tired, actually sick and tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers. I could care less about Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know why Aaron Rodgers is always in the news. I mean, retire already, Aaron. Retire. You know, and I don't know why. And you know what? When this all comes out, when this comes out, Mike Tomlin cannot. I don't think Mike Tomlin really wants Aaron Rodgers. I think this is another GM thing here. I think this is another GM thing that they putting on Mike Tomlin because looking at Mike Tomlin and seeing where there's no way. There's no way, man. So I'm just tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers. But again, you guys are saying he's headed to Pittsburgh.
That's
So
what
what's
they're
to say?
reporting.
So what's to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, that's what they're reporting. Let's say he's on a flight to Pittsburgh, getting ready. He'll be there in time for mandatory training camp.
Man, this is interesting because you don't know any players. You don't know any coach. You got these two receivers here, two hotheads, by the way. You got these receivers here waiting on you. I mean, this is going to be laughable. I'm telling you, mark it down. The Steelers are going to be a laughing stock this year with Aaron Rodgers in there. Mike Tomlin is a solid coach. Don't get me wrong. Mike Tomlin is a solid coach. But what I've been, reading and hearing is Mike Tomlin, where he's at right now, is sort of where Andy Reid was when he was with the Eagles when it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time. I mean, you're a great coach, don't get me wrong, great coach. But
Mm.
at this point, it's time to go. Everything is stale. The players, they respect you, but I don't know if they really listening to you, and it's sort of like, hey, we are going to be right there on the cusp of making the playoffs. We're going to be good. Defense, you're going to have, here and there, but it's just not going to be enough. We don't make the playoffs. We miss the playoffs. And how much longer can you go with this? I know the Steelers don't hire many coaches. I think Tomlin is what the fourth coach in
Third.
history or something. Third?
Third.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That is
that's
crazy.
that's amazing. But
Yeah.
I think we're looking at we pointing the blame at the wrong person here because Tomlin, you made a comment. You don't know if the players are actually listening or buying in. I think they are because if they didn't, then they wouldn't even have the success that they've had over the past couple of seasons. I mean, just even making it to the playoffs with who at quarterback, right? You had Pickett, you have Mason Rudolph, you got, Justin Fields, all these. It's like Tomlin is putting together winning seasons with subpar play at the quarterback position. That's very difficult to do. So I put it on the GM. The GM needs to get him a quarterback. And Rodgers isn't it. But some way, somehow, the GM needs to do something. I mean, look, the Kansas City Chiefs at one time went to the playoffs with Alex Smith, and the next year the GM wheeled and dealed and traded up to the 10th spot to get Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right? So you can still win, but you have to have a plan on what you're going to do to get you a franchise quarterback. No one is saying for the Pittsburgh Steelers to tank or to, because you have some people saying that, like, just have a bad season so you can get you a guy.
Right.
You don't need to do that. You just need to have someone smart enough to make the right deal and the right decisions to get you in a spot, but you have to have a plan. Who are you going after? Because the Chiefs, they were eyeing Mahomes all that off season. That was their guy. And so they sold the farm to get him, and it paid off.
Yeah, definitely.
Baltimore Ravens traded into the last pick of the first round to get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So if you want a guy, you can go get a guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tomlin does more or less.
You got to be a good evaluator, and the GM isn't doing his job. Not at the quarterback position.
Yeah. That's lazy, man. That's lazy. To be waiting on Aaron Rodgers, to me, in 2025 is lazy. That's just I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, you got Mason Rudolph, right? On and I don't wanna, belittle Mason Rudolph, right? I don't want to belittle him. He's an NFL quarterback. I would have gone into the season with Mason Rudolph if push come to shove, than going with Aaron Rodgers, man. Mason Rudolph been on the team for years. People know him. I mean, he's a backup, but he's been there. Let him, give him the reins, let him run with it for one season, and then you get your quarterback in this quarterback heavy draft next year. Why play the circus, which is Aaron Rodgers? Because now Aaron is going to he's going to come in there, trying to run the show. I'm the QB. They was waiting on me, I mean, I got, this is me. Then he on Pat McAfee every week, talking a bunch of craziness and going back and forth. It's just a circus, man. So I'm glad it's not the Eagles. Pittsburgh, Godspeed to you.
This really going to be interesting because Pittsburgh, from a football perspective, is very conservative. You blue collar, you come to work, you do your thing, you go home. And if you notice, most of the time, anyone starts getting bigger than a team within a calendar year, they gone. So to have the guy who's on, Pat McAfee show and, didn't show up to mandatory minicamp last year because he was in Egypt or something traveling.
Do it right. Yeah.
We may have a dumpster fire here, so don't be surprised. So,
did Pittsburgh draft Will Howard?
Will Howard, yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, so they got a rookie. Okay,
they got
like in the fifth or sixth. And we know Aaron Rodgers does a great job of mentoring young quarterbacks, right? So this is going to be wonderful for the development of Mason Rudolph and Will Howard having Aaron Rodgers on the team.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Doc. This is gonna be good because I know Tomlin is a no nonsense kind of guy, so I want to see what kind of leash he has for Aaron Rodgers, right? I want to see how this all shakes out. I mean, I know he's not the Antonio Brown, because Antonio just take it all the way over the top, and Pickens, them dudes, they just take it all the way over the top. But I want to see how either Aaron Rodgers changes and adapts to Pittsburgh, which I don't see happening because he believes he's larger than life, or how what Tomlin is going to do to kind of rein that in, what conversation he's going to have with him to kind of rein that in throughout the season.
So the over-unders are how many times are we going to see Aaron Rodgers come off the field, Tomlin say something, Aaron Rodgers be dismissive, and that argument on the sideline? And how often, for some reason, there's a series and Aaron Rodgers isn't on the field, even though there's no reports of him being hurt on the previous series, and then them not talking about the thing after the game, even though we know what happened during the game. And at least one of them gonna happen once. Like, I'll be shocked if it's 0 times 2, right? Just how often those two grate on each other. Because Tomlin demands respect, and Aaron tends to be extremely confident in how he thinks things should go. And so, yeah.
Well, this season has a lot of storylines, man. A lot of storylines that are gonna be that got to play out, from the Madden Curse to Aaron Rodgers.
Hard Knocks in Pittsburgh, right? Hard Knocks in
No,
Pittsburgh this year?
no, it's in the
That would be
NFC.
nice.
It should have been in
That
Pittsburgh.
would be nice.
Boy, that would have been a
Yes.
real highlight.
Yep.
They still got time to switch it. I hope they do. Us, man. So yeah. All right. So you got anything else? What we looking at? You good?
I think that's it. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Doc, I know your Minnesota Vikings. You're all gearing up. I know you're gearing up for this season. You got your quarterback,
JJ.
AJ is
AJ
your
to
guy.
JJ.
Yes, yes, yes. So real quick before we go, I just want to, because I know we hadn't had you on the last time. I just want you to, just share a little bit of what you've seen at OTAs, from your Minnesota Vikings and JJ.
Man, so people are excited because he's making throws and his arm is lively. He's got a pretty strong arm. He can make some throws. And so it is a nice additional weapon to have going in. It's going to be hard for me as an Ohio State fan to be cheering for a Michigan quarterback on my team.
Yeah.
Go blue.
But professionally, Vikings wise, because he's graduated, Vikings wise, it is great to have this guy on the team. And so he can make some throws that Sam Darnold wasn't able to make. And that's saying
Yeah.
a lot. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think he's only going to get better with the offensive coordinator and the talent at the skill positions on offense. So yeah. That's
Okay. All
the big thing. That's the big thing.
Yeah, what's so interesting is when they were talking about that whole Caleb Williams book thing, right? The what's it, Sam Wickersham, the excerpt he has on Caleb Williams in his book. He talks about how during the combine, Caleb Williams met with O'Connell, right, with the Vikings, and he walked away. He met with all the teams, right? But the one that impacted him the most was his conversation with Kevin O'Connell. And he left the combine and he went to his dad. He said, "We got to find a way for me to end up in Minnesota." That was actually where he wanted to go. And everyone said, like, that for a young quarterback, that was the best spot for any of those young quarterbacks to end up, was there. So I think JJ's in a good spot. When I saw JJ in the combine that year, I told Doc, I said, he has an arm, and he was making all the throws. And we were just coming off of a national championship as well, Michigan. And so I figured if he landed in a good spot, that he would pretty, he'd be set up for success. And luckily for him, he ended up, I think, in the best spot any of those quarterbacks could have ended up in, aside from Jade Daniels, right?
Yeah.
And the Commanders.
Yeah.
Because that ended up being a really good spot too.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, I hope JJ, who's going to be passing to JJ, Justin Jefferson, I hope that works out, man. I hope that works out, because as a rookie, I mean, not rookie, but second year, but really his rookie season, because he's just started this year. I hope that works out. I hope Justin doesn't, I don't know what kind of temperament Justin have for getting the ball. I know a lot of number one receivers, they like to get the ball. And I hope JJ cannot, because Justin Jefferson can say, "Get me the ball. Bro, just throw me the ball," right? So I hope he doesn't get rattled and trying to force the ball to Justin Jefferson, because those things can happen and kind of fracture a quarterback at the same time. So,
the surprising thing, and I think some of it is Justin Jefferson's temperament, and I think some of it's just the way O'Connell kind of runs that team. you don't see the petulant wide receiver out of Justin Jefferson like some of the other
No.
top tier wide receivers. I'm sure he gets frustrated, but it tends to be tempered, and you don't see the outbreak stuff getting thrown on the sidelines.
Yeah,
Yelling and cussing at the quarterback kind of thing. And we've gone through a few quarterbacks the last couple of seasons, including the Pastronaut. You've gone through a few quarterbacks, and we haven't seen that out of Justin Jefferson. Just throw it up; he'll go get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pleasantly kind of tempering the expectations just a bit, because we had a really great season last year, and I'm not expecting that, but hoping at least to make the playoffs and try to make a run this year.
Yeah. Lee, I know he was going to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna get on you about your comment about Justin Jefferson, hoping that he wasn't gonna be what do you call it, a diva, I guess is what you was implying. The examples that you've seen as an Eagle fan with AJ Browns and Terrell Owens. I mean, not everyone is like that. Link.
Everyone's like that.
They got the book, man. AJ got the book.
He got the book now.
Man.
Yep.
Hey, and one final thought, what I just thought about, and just tell me if this is accurate or not. And Doc, this involves your Vikings.
Oof.
Dante Culpepper. He was on the Madden cover, right? Don't tell me he got hurt.
Yep.
After that.
Yep.
That just came to my mind as I was looking at Doc's logo. And then I was thinking back to in Madden, and I remember Dante Culpepper was on the
season-ending knee injury late in the year.
Killing me, man. You're killing me. Oh, man. All right. Yeah. Saquon. I gotta send some prayers.
I think with the cover they tried to just get a little bit of the helmet of Jarius Jones, so they're gonna try Sahin on the cover too. But I think the Eagles fans, y'all need to count that. If you see anything of the person, it counts. And so Jerry and Jones is on the cover, and so hopefully that makes Saquon.
Yeah, he's safe.
So
we'll see.
All
right, man. All right, fellas.
All right.
Another good one.
Take it easy.
Take care.
All right. Yeah, later.